One of the things, see if our frame's okay and all
Get out of
that.
it. Okay, we're good.
Women may be in a better position to understand. A guy, most men, will hear this and say, wow, you really think about food that much? Talk to me about that. How much do you think about food? It's hard, and men are pretty dense, as you have figured out by now. How much do you think about food?
A lot.
Start with, I think about food a lot.
I think about food a lot. It's definitely, I think about it differently than I have in the past, because I don't think that it's in an obsessive way. But I think about food from, am I getting enough nutrients? Like I do care about my health, but then at the same time, I have this underlying guilt and shame that I feel like I fight every day. This like the old eating disorder part, or like my mom's voice, or all the magazines that I see. I feel like I'm always up against that. So sometimes I buy food in spite of myself. And then I think trying to become healthier, mentally and emotionally, that, and part of recovering from my eating disorder has involved learning when I'm hungry and what I'm hungry for. And that's a whole new way of thinking about food. And that can be stressful because I really want to be conscious. And so that's a new way of thinking about food too.
Describe for me, if you would, a worst kind of a real binge experience. What is it? How? I'm not sure that people understand how much you might eat in a binge. Can you describe in a bad binge? Describe what you would come home and eat, or if you'd go to a restaurant. What's a bad binge?
I know that when I would come home, like in high school, I really just remember lots of goldfish, Pop-Tarts, tuna, cereal. And that's what I can remember, but it would be as much as possible until I'm like literally about to throw up. And I know, I mean, binges still can happen for me now. And I was thinking about this. Sometimes it's just like never ending, and I'm like really full. Let me think. I feel like I can't think of something that's been like recent. I can't think of something that's been recent that sounds dramatic. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all right. What do you get emotionally out of a binge? And is it anything like sex?
No, it's
No?
nothing, not for me, nothing like sex. And that's an interesting and funny question, because sex for me is very sacred and important, and really fulfilling. So that's an interesting question. And what do I get from binge? Well, even if it's not a binge, like there's a comfort in every day. I really look forward to a cappuccino and my cinnamon roll, and it tastes good. And there's a pleasure that I have, that I'm finally giving myself permission to eat this. And that there's a lot of people who don't let themselves eat it, and that feels good. I don't know. Sometimes it's just, because I eat a lot of sugar, a lot of chocolate, lots of cookies and brownies. I don't really know emotionally. It just tastes really good.
It's an interesting comparison then, and I want to elaborate on that because if you could follow that sentence through, for me, sex is something sacred and special. And then you didn't finish the sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And food is.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna challenge you, if you would go back to that, you could repeat the thing about sex, and then and food is, and what is it in comparison then to?
Well, eating food is not as good as sex. And sex for me is very sacred and special, and really fulfilling. But that's like also with like my partner who I love, there's an insane connection that my body has, emotionally for that. So, and with food, I think it tastes good and I think it's fun to enjoy and I love eating and trying new foods. But I don't know. I guess I wouldn't compare it to sex because sex for me is about connecting with another person and being intimate and vulnerable. Maybe it's just my definition of sex that makes food not like sex because there's a lot of power in that shared experience with sex. And food is, I'm nourishing my body and there's amazing food and I've had really great food. But it kind of stops there. I mean, there's shared experience like going out to dinner. That's fun. Trying new things together, but maybe it's just that because it doesn't have all the other things that sex does for me, I guess. I don't know.
You seem like water for chocolate.
I don't think so.
I think it's French. Could be Dutch. And it's an extraordinary film.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's top 10 most all-time lists. And what it is this wonderful thing. It's all about this little family in a rural village. I think it's French.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationship between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And how it's all the appetite, the premise of the film is it's the appetites of life.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to come to feel comfortable with all of the normal human appetites.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you might want to.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's an extraordinary piece of work. Have you had to deal with stuff like hiding it and all of those things from people? The bulimia in particular, is that a big?
Yeah, I've never. That wasn't something that I would tell people. That was a very private thing. I don't think I even really considered telling people. It was just like something that happened, something that I did, and when I told my mom, it was like I think it was I wanted help, and it was really scary to tell her. So, yeah, it was a private thing, and I think eating in general sometimes can be really private, or at least like when I eat sweet stuff, I think I turn it into a joke if a lot of people are around. I'm like, yeah, I'll slam all these Oreos, like I guess similar to like how people are like, I'll drink you under the table. And I'll do that with friends. And I think that's because I'm trying to make light of it because I know that I eat differently, or my public behaviors around food are different from a lot of other people. Yeah.
Where do you want to be in 10 years with regard to the eating? Where would you like to be, and the one I'll follow. Let's start with, where do you fear being? And then we're going to go to where do you want to be?
I really fear having an eating disorder again and being consumed with my body image. I fear not being empowered, and I fear being afraid of fat, and I fear losing sight of what I've found, losing sight of like health at every size, that sort of movement, and that I can be fat and beautiful. It doesn't take away. I think that's the biggest thing, that like fat has represented so much. That's like, I can't be successful, I can't be smart, I can't be pretty, all these things if I'm fat. And I've done a lot of work to stop thinking that way. So I think that's really scary, is to lose where I am right now. And I know that there's a lot more that I could go to grow. So like where I want to be in 10 years is, I'd really like to not have to look at my profile in the mirror, and like the secret, like every once in a while when I feel fat, but I don't like to talk that way. Like I just don't want to even feel fat, because what does that even mean? I guess to me, that's kind of like what my question is to myself. And I would really like to be kind of really out there as far as being body empowered for other people. And I think that that's what I see, like my goals in life, and like as an artist, is like for like queer activism and body positive activism. But I also want to be, walking my talk,
That was great.
Cool. All right.
Yep.
Shall we go outside? Or let's do a little bit of room tone.
All right, so we just need to be quiet for about 20 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
The picture of this one is particularly interesting. Those some of your colleagues up there, classmates?
Yeah, these are the posters for our show right now.
Uh-huh.
And each of us our photos were combined.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm in this one, and it's 3 other people, and our photos have been overlaid.
Nice.
And then this is all 13 of us in one photo.